Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Mangesh Dushing. In this series of lectures of chromatography, this is the fourth lecture which contains applications of ion exchange chromatography. Friends, in last video lecture we have seen the what is ion exchange chromatography, classification of ion exchangers, and the whatever the reactions which are takes place at the ion exchange site that we have seen. Now in this particular video lecture, we will see the applications of ion exchange chromatography. There are so many applications of the ion exchange chromatography. It can be used for the laboratory separations, the separation of some ions, compounds into the laboratory, purification of water, extraction of metals, treatment of high cost pharmaceutical derivatives. So these are the some uses of ion exchange chromatography, but in particularly in our syllabus we shall describe only typical applications of ion exchange chromatography in this video lecture, such as the separation of metal ions on anion exchange column. Second, the separation of amino acids, that is effect of pH, and the third one is purification of water. So these are the applications, three applications we will learn one by one in this particular video lecture. So first we will start with the separation of metal ions on anion exchange column. The metal ions in a solution can be separated on anion exchanges by ion exchange method. Right. The anion exchange resin can be exchanged only with the anion present in the solution passing through the resin column. The metal ions can form anionic complexes like FeCl4-. So like this ions forms the anionic complexes, and these anionic complexes we can exchange by using anion exchange column. Many metal ions can be converted into anionic complexes by complexing formation. Usually the complexing agents like anion, like fluorides, chlorides or bromides. So these are some anions which can be used for the complex formation reaction, and these reagents can be called as complexing agents. Many complexing agents are either weak acids or weak bases. Therefore, the formation of complex involves the pH change. So while this formation of complex, there will be the pH change. The pH of the solution may get changed because these complex agents are the weak acids or weak bases. Normally, highly concentrated acids is added to the solution of the metal ion to form the anionic complex. So highly concentrated acids like concentrated HCl, concentrated H2SO4 is used for the solution to form anionic complexes with that cations. The concentrated hydrochloric acid forms anionic chlorocomplexes. It's like FeCl4-. The advantage is taken of the fact that the concentrated HCl does not form anionic chlorocomplexes with the alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, aluminum 3+, chromium 3+, and nickel 2+ ions. So that these metal ions can be very easily separated out from the other metals and capable of forming chloroanionic complexes. So these are the some cations like alkali metal, alkaline earth metals, Al3+, Cr3+, Ni2+. So these ions can be separated very easily because that won't interfere with the another ions which forms the chloroanionic complexes. The strong anion exchangers like quaternary ammonium resins, quaternary ammonium hydroxide resins is used for the anion exchange column. So in this particular anion exchange column we can use these resins, that is quaternary ammonium hydroxide salts. So the OX1 anion exchange resin is used in this particular column. The distribution coefficient of the metal on anion exchange resin depends upon the concentration of HCl. So one metal ion can be separated from another by adjusting the concentration of the HCl. The HCl concentration is adjusted in such a way that one metal ion has a higher value of partition coefficient while the other has low value of partition coefficient. So how to separate these cations by using this HCl? So that depends upon the concentration of HCl. At particular concentration of the HCl, some ions have a low partition coefficient and some ions has a higher partition coefficient. So that is the driving force for the separation of these ions by changing the concentration of HCl. So that distribution coefficient of the metal ions on anion exchange resin, it depends upon the concentration of HCl. So by changing the concentration HCl, we can separate the metal ions effectively. The metal ions, that is anion complex, having a high value of distribution coefficient will exchange strongly. So those will have a high distribution coefficient, those exchange strongly and will remain attached to the resin, while the metal having low value of distribution coefficient will not exchange and will flow along with the mobile phase and get eluted from the column. Thus, one metal ion remains on the resin while the other gets eluted, hence can be separated. So whatever the metal ion complex formations, whatever the anion complex formations having different value of distribution coefficient. So those complexes having a higher value of distribution coefficient, they will attach to the resin very strongly. So they comes later. But the lower value of Kd, those complexes, those anionic complexes exchange very rapidly and they comes fast along with the solution, along with the mobile phase. Right. So this is the driving force for the separation of cations. When there are many metal ions, then the metals can be successfully separated by decreasing the concentration of HCl to the level at which the distribution coefficient of other metal is low and the metal can be eluted. Many metal ions can be separated in this manner. So if we are decreasing the concentration of HCl, so what will happen? For the some metal ions or for some metal anion complexes, the distribution coefficient decreases. So that if distribution coefficient is decreases, then there will be the fast exchange between the resin and mobile phase. Fast exchange between stationary phase and mobile phase. So what will happen? They will flow along with the mobile phase and get eluted very fast. So many metal ions can be separated like this method. Now I will see the process. For example, the sample solution is prepared in a 10 molar HCl and placed at the top of the column. म्हणजे आपण एक column prepare केला by using anion exchange resin आणि आपलं sample solution बनवलं ते आपल्या top of the column ठेवलं and then we use the solution 10 molar HCl. We shall illustrate the separation of metal ions on the anion exchange column by taking the example of mixture of the metal ions like nickel 2 plus, Mn2 plus, cobalt 2 plus, Fe3 plus and Zn2 plus. The nickel 2 plus does not form an anionic complex with the HCl and hence Mn2 plus eluted first with the 12 molar HCl. So Ni2 plus, that is nickel 2 plus, is the metal cation which does not form anionic complexes with the HCl. So it won't form any complex. So that will drain out easily with 12 normal or 12 molar HCl and that will come out first from the column. So nickel ला separate करायची काय गरज नाही. Solution टाकलं 10 normal 12 normal HCl, that will come out first. The Mn2 plus is not adsorbed on the resin in 6 normal HCl. Hence it is eluted with the 6 molar HCl. तुम्ही जर 6 molar HCl टाकलं सो 6 मोलर HCl Mn2 plus हा रेझिनवर ॲड्स ऑफ होत नाही. सो दॅट कॅन बी इल्युटेड फास्ट विथ 6 molar HCl. The cobalt 2 plus has a distribution coefficient is 1 at 4 molar HCl and hence it is eluted at 4 molar HCl. So distribution coefficient of the cobalt is very less in 4 molar HCl. So there will be the exchange between resin and solution will be fast and that drain out very easily. CO2 plus will come out very easily with the solution when the concentration of solution is 4 molar. The copper 2 plus ions has low value of distribution coefficient at 2.5 molar HCl, while Fe3 plus Zn2 plus have larger value of distribution coefficient value at the concentration of HCl, and hence at this particular concentration, that is 2.5, Cu2 plus, that is copper 2 plus, is eluted, right, because it has a lower value of distribution coefficient. So higher exchange between resin and solution. So Cu2 plus comes first and then Fe3 plus and Zn2 plus, because they has a higher value of distribution coefficient if the concentration of HCl is 2.5. The Fe3 plus has a low value of distribution coefficient, that is Kd is equal to 1 at 0.5 molar HCl, and hence it is eluted at this concentration of HCl. Then it is eluted at this concentration of HCl because low value of Kd, it means that high exchange between resin and solution. If high exchange between resin and solution, that comes out fast with the solution from the column. The Zn2 plus is so strongly adsorbed that the acid concentration must be decreased to 0.005 molar HCl. For this elution, however, it requires a many column volumes to complete the elution. It is more easily eluted at 2.5 molar HNO3. So whatever these Zn2 plus ions are there, those are strongly adsorbed by this resin. So if you decrease the concentration of HCl also, it is not possible to drain out or to remove this Zn2 plus ions from the resin. So for that purpose, we have to use 2.5 molar HNO3 different acid, or we have to use many volume of the solution. The amount of solution required that is 0.005 molar of HCl is required large amount. So instead of that one, if we use a 2.5 molar HNO3, then that will be easier to remove this Zn2 plus ions from the mixture and from the resin. Now we'll see the second application, that is separation of amino acids. So amino acids, those are the organic compounds which contains amine functional group as well as carboxylic acid functional group. So all the amino acids contain these two functional group. The difference between them only is R group. Now we will see the separation of these amino acids, that is effect of pH. The amino acids are the anionic substances and hence can be separated by these resins. We shall consider that the effect of pH on the separation of amino acids. We have to see what is the effect of pH on the separation of amino acids. The adjustment of the suitable pH is very important in the separation of amino acids. Why? That we'll see in further slide. This is because the amino acids are amphoteric in nature, means amino acids can accept the proton because it has a base functional group, that is amine functional group. It can donate the proton also because it has an acidic functional group, that is carboxylic acid. That's why amino acids are the amphoteric in nature, that can be acts as a base, that can be acts as a acid, that can accept the proton or that can accept the donate the proton also. So amino acids can exist in three different forms. First, in acidic conditions, when H plus concentration is high, then what will happen? Whatever the basic functional group, that is amine functional group, will get protonated, and this has a positive charge. So pH will be less. This is the another form in an alkaline form, that is if pH is high, then what will happen? Whatever the acidic H of the carboxylic acid will get abstracted by the alkali solution and it has a minus charge. This is the another form, that is Y form, and this form is called as zwitterion form. So this is the neutral form where the internal exchange of protons between amine and carboxylic acid takes place. So it has a zero charge. This is neutral molecule. It contains one positive, one negative charge. So this is a neutral ion, that is called as zwitterion. The form Y is called as zwitterion. It is the dominant form at the pH corresponding to the isoelectric point of the amino acid. So at particular pH, that is called as isoelectric point, this zwitterion is a dominant form where this molecule contains one positive charge and one negative charge, and total charge on the molecule is 0, neutral, and that form is called as a Y form, or that is called as zwitterion form. So at particular pH this form is present, and that particular pH is called as isoelectric point of particular amino acids. So this is the characteristic property of each amino acids. This pH is different for all amino acids. Isoelectric point is the pH at which the net charge on the molecule is 0. That pH is called as isoelectric point. So that isoelectric point, at that pH the amino acid is present into Y form, that is called as zwitterion form, and that pH is called as isoelectric point. In more acidic solution than the isoelectric point, then the amine group is protonated to form a cation, that is X form. Whereas in the more alkaline solution, whatever the COH group, carboxylic acid group present into the amino acid, that loses the proton and forms an anion, that is Z form. The isoelectric point varies from one amino acid to another. It depends upon the relative acidity and basicity of the carboxylic acid and amino groups. The amino groups or amino acids can be first separated into the groups on the basis of differences in their isoelectric point at given pH. The amino acids can be separated into 3 groups by passing successively through the anion and cation exchange. Friends, this isoelectric point is the characteristic property of the each amino acid. That is different for all the amino acids. So that is different. It depends upon the relative acidity or basicity of the carboxylic acids or the amino groups. These amino groups can be separated by using this difference in isoelectric point. So at particular pH, the amino acids can be separated into the groups by passing successively through the anion and cation exchange resins. So by using the cation exchange resins, we can distribute these amino acids into 3 groups, that is X form, Y form and Z form, positively charged, negatively charged and neutral amino acids, by keeping the pH is constant. We have seen that the positively charged amino acids will exchange with the cation exchangers, while negatively charged amino acids will exchange with the anion exchangers. The uncharged zwitterion form will pass straight through the from both the cation as well as anion exchange resins because it doesn't have any charge. The amino acids, the group of amino acids can be further subdivided by varying the pH of the solution. The cation exchange column, that is DOWXPICP, can separate out the 50 amino acids by adjusting the pH and temperature. Friends, by using this ion exchange chromatography, we can separate these amino acids into 3 groups. One with positively charged amino acids, second with zwitterion, that is charged with 0, net charge is 0, and third one is anions, the amino acids which are present into the anionic form at particular pH. For that purpose, we can use cation exchangers as well as anion exchangers. But whatever the zwitter ion form that has a net charge is 0, that can be passed through straight very easily from ion exchangers as well as from cation exchangers as well as anion exchangers. So that can be further separated by using the isoelectric point. But these exchangers can classify or separate these amino acids into 3 groups: cations, anions and neutral. Third application is purification of water, that is called as deionization of water. So removal of ions from the water, that is called as deionization of the water. So unwanted ions present into the water that may be harmful for us, that may be harmful for if we are using that water for preparation of solution, for doing conductometry practicals, so that water may be not useful. For that purpose, we have to use the deionized water. We have to remove the ions present into that water. So that is called as purification water, deionization of water. The most important use of this ion exchange chromatography is the purification, that is softening of water. Water contains dissolved salts. The water from which all cations or anions from the electrolytes are removed is called as demineralization of water. The water almost completely free from ions and any dissolved electrolyte is called as deionized water. So removal of cations and anions of the electrolyte from the water is called as demineralization of water, while the water which is free from all these ions and dissolved electrolytes is called as deionized water. The deionized water is prepared by passing the water through mixed bed ion exchange resins. These resins contains both strong acid cation resin as well as strong base anion exchange resin. That is, the resin consists of cation exchanges in a hydrogen form and ion exchanges resins in a hydroxide form. So in this way we can remove cations as well as anions from the water. We have to use a mixed bed, that is cation exchange resin as well as anion exchange resin. We will see the process. When a water containing dissolved salts like calcium chloride is passed through the mixed bed resin column, the calcium 2 plus ions is exchanged for 2 H plus ions, while 2 chlorine ions are exchanged for 2 OH minus ions, because these ions are having similar charges. So cation exchanges cation and anion exchanges anion. This results into exchange of salts from water as shown the following reaction. So see the reactions, how that is happens. So this resin sulfonic acid group, it contains H plus ions that is exchanged by the cations which is present into the solution. So H plus ions which are going into the solution, while resin containing hydroxide ion, so these are the ion exchange resin, so it exchanges the anions which are present into the solution. So Cl minus which are present in the solution, that will get exchanged with this OH minus. So Cl minus ions will get exchanged with this OH minus ions, and this H plus ions and OH minus ions forms a pure water that is coming out from the column. So in this way these are the reactions takes place at anion or cation exchange sites. The combination of H plus ions as well as OH minus ions gives water that is almost completely free from any ions of any dissolved salts. So it does not contain any cations or anions. This is pure water. The resin can be regenerated by using HCl from the cation resin and by using the NaOH from the anion resin. In ion exchange, the exchange of ions is stoichiometric. That is, the equivalents of ions are exchanged and electrical neutrality is maintained. So this exchange process is completely stoichiometric. For one cation required one cation from the resin to exchange. For one anion in the solution to exchange, it required one anion of the resin. So 1:1 proportion, that is stoichiometric. Now we'll see what are the uses of this deionized water. By using the ion exchange chromatography, we form this deionized water. But what is the use of this deionized water? This water is very soft, ultra pure. It doesn't contain any ions, any electrolyte. The quality of water equals that of the distilled water. So this is like a distilled water. It doesn't contain any cations or anions present into the solution that are removed by this ion exchange chromatography. This water has a larger number of applications. For that purpose, we are using this deionization of water. So these fields are like in conductance experiments, in conductometry practicals, we require a demineralized or deionized water. So in conductometric experiments in the chemistry, biological studies, high pressure boilers, lead storage battery. So in lead storage battery, we have to use this deionized water. And in preparation of the solutions of silver nitrate solution. So silver nitrate is a costlier chemical that should not form any precipitate with the water while making the solution, because solution if contains some anions like chlorides, fluorides or iodides, if you are making the silver nitrate solution, that will get precipitated. So that will be unuseful for us, and that silver nitrate will get waste. That's why whatever the water used for the making of solution of silver nitrate, that should be deionized water or demineralized water. So these are the few applications of deionized water. So what we learn is the applications of ion exchange chromatography. First is the separation of metal ions on anion exchange column. Second one, whatever we learn is that separation of amino acids by using various and the purification of water. Thank you friends.